On today's Solo Saturday, we play Arkham Horror, the card game. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Lee with Geek City USA here, and today we are going to play Arkham Horror, the card game, and we are playing the Night of the Zealot campaign. Now this is the campaign from the base game. The way I have this set up right here is with just one copy of the base game. I don't have a super fancy deck build. I have very basic. This is exactly what, when you play the Learn to Play guide, when you grab this thing here and you go through it, this is the setup for the very first game. I've set up with all of the recommended card sets, with the recommended chaos bag there, and that's how we're gonna play. Now, I am by no means an expert on this game. I am probably going to make some mistakes. This is maybe my second to third real playthrough of the game. I played it when I first got it and I wasn't in love and I shelved the game. So I'm going to try to jump into it and hopefully we'll make it through the entire campaign. So today being the first episode, if you will, or the first scenario, Night of the Zealot, the Ghoul's Hunger, and then we'll go on through here as the days go by and we will have further episodes providing all goes well. So we are going to start now. Again, we have here Roland Banks is my investigator number one here. It says, everybody by the book, everything by the book, every I dotted, every T crossed that had worked until now. And then over here, his partner, or co-investigator, I guess we have, is Wendy Adams, the urchin. And it doesn't really say anything about her flavor text wise, although there's a ton of flavor text here. I'm not going to go into reading that. I will read the stuff from the book as we go and the scenarios and stuff. So let's jump in and we will read the intro here to the Ghoul's Hunger. Now it says Friday, September 18th, 1925, Arkham, Massachusetts. It is the end of a long and abnormally hot summer. The first hints of autumn beckon, but a heavy heat persists, relentless. A silent, unspoken anger grips the town. Tempers are short, and in the last week alone there have been numerous reports of townspeople coming to heated, violent blows with one another over simple misunderstandings. And now a call from James Hankerson. He claims to have found a dismembered body in his barn. Blaming the weather would be too easy. There is something wrong with this town and not a whole lot this old soothsayer can do to stop the slide. My auguries indicate a small group of investigators will soon take note of these strange happenings and set forth to make things right. I'll be watching their progress, but I won't be holding my breath. So there you have, that's the little intro blurb here. And we have, let's start here with, this is Agenda 1A, what's going on. You can get an idea of the picture here, and it says, it is late at night. You are holed up in your study, researching the bloody disappearances that have been taking place in the region. A few hours into your research, you hear the sound of strange chanting coming from your parlor down the hall. At the same time, you hear dirt churning as if something were digging beneath the floor. And this number right here, that's our Doom track. That's how many Doom tokens we need to go to flip over to the next agenda. And we will read here Act 1A, Trapped. You see that there. And it says, as you leap to investigate, the door to your study vanishes before your eyes, leaving behind only solid wall. You're trapped inside your study until you can find another way out. So you see here too, this is 2 with a little investigator head. So this means we'll need to do 2 clues per investigator. So we'll need 4 in order to advance the act here. So here is the study. I will go ahead and read the study since we've read the other 3 things. It says, you've been investigating the strange events occurring in Arkham for several days now. Your desk is covered in newspaper articles, police reports, and witness accounts. So we're going to go ahead and flip this because we are in the study. And when we flip it, it says, the door to your study has vanished. And there are 2 investigator tokens. So that means we have to have 4 clue tokens on here to be discovered. All right. Now also each investigator is going to start with 5 resources. So I will draw here, this is Roland Banks stuff here, and I will grab for Wendy Adams as well. Now, like I said, this is not a game that I've played a million times, so we are going to have fun and learn on this together. Now each player is going to start with 5 cards, so let's start by rolling. Actually, you know what I'll do, just so that way, I've been accused before of stacking a deck. So just so you guys know, whoops, that I'm not stacking anything. Roland Banks, his 5 cards. Here's his starting hand, and I'll show it to you guys here. We have the emergency cache, the guts, dodge, dynamite blast, and manual dexterity. So sadly, no weapons here. I got some, gain a couple extra resources. Now, I don't know how you guys are if you're the mulligan sort. I almost feel like I want to mulligan his hand. You know what? Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I feel like I need to mulligan this. So let's mulligan this. We're gonna shuffle this back into the deck. And we'll say, I think it says you have one mulligan. So we'll call it one, okay? And we'll see what happens. Whatever this is, we will take it. See, all on the fly. You never know what to expect. All right, so we have Beat Cop, Medical Texts, Old Book of Lore, Magnifying Glass, and Research Librarian. Dare I say, I think I like the other one better. Although the Beat Cop does help us. For us to do damage to enemies at our location. So, okay. So I'm going to set these right here. And now let's see what Wendy Adams has. I'll reshuffle her deck. Draw her 5 cards. Let's see what we have here. All right, we have Lucky, Switchblade, Flashlight, Emergency Cache, and Stray Cat. So this is good because this gives us the flashlight to help on investigations, and then this also gives us a switchblade if we have to fight something. So I feel okay with what she has. So I should also read, I did not read this part 1, The Gathering here. You and your partner have been investigating strange events taking place in your home city of Arkham, Massachusetts. Over the past few weeks, several townspeople have mysteriously gone missing. Recently, their corpses turned up in the woods, savaged and half-eaten. The police and newspapers have stated that wild animals are responsible, but you believe there's something else going on. You are gathered together at the lead investigator's home to discuss these bizarre events. All right, so there we have it. So now again, I have all the chaos tokens. They are loaded in here. You can kind of see what they are. Now I don't like to, I'm a rules lawyer, right? So I'm very by the book. So I'm gonna make sure that these are shuffled really, really well every time I have to draw from here. And I will say, I actually ordered some coin capsules for these, specifically for these playthroughs here that I was planning on doing. But when I received them, they were way too big. I think I ordered the 26 millimeter ones, and there was like, I think they sent like the 28s, even though they were listed being the right size. So whatever, you might not care about it, but just thought I would share that. So anyway, I'm gonna call Roland Banks our lead investigator, and so we each are gonna have these round sequence cards, and we're gonna have the mythos phase, which we skip on the first turn. The investigation phase, that's when each investigator gets to take 3 actions. Then we have the enemy phase, when the enemies, the hunters can chase, and then they also do their attacks. And then the upkeep phase, which is when we clean everything up. Also, here's the actions that we can do as investigators on our turn. We can draw a card or gain a resource, play a card from our hand, activate an ability on a card, move to a connecting location, investigate our location, fight or engage an enemy, and attempt to evade an engaged enemy. And yeah, that's really pretty much it there. So now the goal is, as I understand it, we want to advance this because we obviously, the longer we're here, in my opinion, the more difficult it's going to be for us. So we're definitely going to want to investigate to grab some clues because we're going to need 4 clues to get past this here. Now Roland Banks does have this power here, this little logo here. If it comes in focus, it says, after you defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location. Limit once per round. So the cool thing about that is if we fight anybody here, if anybody appears during one of the mythos phases, we'll actually be able to discover those clues much quicker. So now let's figure out, we have 3 actions. Now you'll look here, these are the costs in the corner. That's how many resources we need to pay if we're going to play some of these cards. So we have a Beat Cop, which would help us if something attacks us. I'm not opposed to playing that. So medical texts, that lets us heal. So we don't need that right now. An Old Book of Lore. Choose an investigator at your location. Then you search the top 3 cards of his deck. Draw. That's not bad. That might not be too bad for getting us the weapons we want and the cards that we want, but I don't think I want to waste 3 resources on that right away. Magnifying glass, we get +1 while investigating. That's nice. And then we have the research librarian. After research librarian enters play, search your deck for a tome asset and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck. Oh, I wonder what the tome does. So let's think about this. So I think what I want to do, because I have 3 actions, I think I want to, first thing I want to do is I want to play the beat cop, because I want to be prepared to fight whatever's going to come my way. And I don't have any weapons. I haven't drawn any weapons yet. So I'm going to pay 4 resources here, throw it to the pile, and I'm going to play my beat cop. Now the beat cop, again, lets you get +1 strength when you're doing a strength test. And I can discard the beat cop to deal a damage to an enemy at my location. And this is the strength and or the health and the madness, or I think that's what it is, madness or constitution. I don't know. I can look and see exactly what it is. Horror. So that we have our damage and amount of horror that somebody can take. So ultimately, this is our physical health and our mental health. All right, so that was our first action. Now I want to do an investigation at the study. Now again, an investigate's going to let me hopefully get one of these clues that I can put towards advancing the act. So moving the story along before we get destroyed. So what you're going to do here is, if you look, we have different things here. There's our mind, I guess our mental strength, our knowledge, our strength, and our agility. So in this case, whenever we are going to investigate, we're going to look at the book there, which is, we have a 3. So if you look here, the study has a 2. So we need to pass the skill test. Right now we have 3, we need 2 or more, so we would pass that. But we are going to draw from this bag here, and if you look, there's a lot of bad stuff here. There's -1s, there's -2s, there's a -4, a couple of zeros, and then some special tokens, and we'll cover those when we pull them. So essentially, it's going to be difficult for us to do what we need to do. Now, we have the ability of, when we do investigate, if you look, some of these cards here have little values in the corner. Now, if I were to discard this card, for example, I could play this. It has 1 book. It would increase that skill check for me by 1. Anybody else who is at my location can play one of the cards from their hand. So for example, Wendy being at my location, she could play this card if she wanted to help me do my investigate action. I'm not sure that I want to do that right yet. I do have this +1 while investigating. Maybe that's not a bad idea, although I feel like this isn't too bad. Let's try and save the cards until we get, because some of these are more difficult locations. Let's see what happens. We're just going to go ahead and draw for this. All right, so we're going to draw for our intellect. Again, we have 3, and then there is 2. So we just need to, and I got to make sure that I'm not looking down the camera when I'm doing this. So I'm going to turn this aside, and we will draw this one. And we drew a -1. So basically, we went from 3 to 2, but we still match that, so that's good. We succeed in that investigation, so we can take that clue token and hold on to it. So we are 1 step closer to being able to advance that act. Now for our final action, I'm going to do the same thing again. I feel lucky. I think we did okay. Whoops, as I'm launching, I don't want to pull that -2. All right, so let's pull, aha. All right, so you see here, I drew this little tombstone looking thing. Now if you look at this card here, this gathering card, this is the scenario we're playing. We're playing easy standard. There's also a hard expert. We're doing easy standard because I'm not an expert at this game at all. So if we look here, this matches the token that we pulled. It says -2 if there's a ghoul enemy at your location. Take 1 damage. So let me put the emphasis on the right syllable. -2. If there is a ghoul enemy at your location, take 1 damage. So we had 3, that was 2, -2, so that means 1. So we failed that test. So fortunately there's no ghoul, so we don't take a damage, but that kind of sucks. So that ends Roland's turn, so we can flip him over. He is now exhausted. And now we'll go on to Wendy Adams' turn. So now let's take a look at her hand. Now I like this flashlight. So if you look at the flashlight, you have 3 uses of it, and you can get a -2 shroud for this investigation. So this is your shroud value. So basically, it would help in an investigation. So I'm going to play this. We're going to play right here. It costs 2 resources to play. And then I get to put 3 charges, which means 3 uses on the flashlight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And what else do we have? Do I want to play an ally? Automatically invade a non-elite enemy at your location. Nah. Gain 3 resources, a fight, switchblade. And this is cool. This one's lucky. If you're going to fail a skill test, you get +2 to your skill value. So that's kind of nice. But I think we're okay. So we are going to go ahead and for our first action for Wendy, and I should say, let's look at her special power. When you reveal a chaos token, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. Cancel that chaos token and return it to the bag and reveal a new chaos token. You can do it once per test. So basically what that means is if we draw from this bag, like we did with Roland, and it makes our thing fail, we can go ahead and we can pull from here, or discard a card rather, throw the chit back into the bag and draw it again. So, all right, so let's see. So Wendy has an intellect of 3, and this has a value of 2, but we're going to use one of these flashlight charges, and that is going to bring this down to 0. So right now it's 3 to 0, and whatever we draw, and we draw a -4. See, so that is how not to draw. So let's see, do I want to discard a card to try again? I'm going to discard the stray cat, just because I don't plan on doing a lot of evading if I can help it. So I'm going to... We'll discard that there. And we put the -4, it's back in the bag here. So we will shuffle up and we will try that again. Let's draw this one instead. Uh-oh. So we had the Elder Sign, and the Elder Sign says, oh wait, Elder Sign is on our card. And that says, effect +0. If Wendy's amulet is play, you automatically succeed instead. So that's pretty good. Hey, we passed it, that's all that matters. So for our first action from Wendy, we get a clue. Now, I am going to put this back in the bag. I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Pull the flashlight again. All right, we're going to investigate. So right now, this is a 0 because we use the flashlight charge. She has an intellect of 3, and we draw a 0, so that means we pass it. All right, we're going to go ahead, and for her final action, we're going to use her 3rd charge because we can get this last clue, and we can advance that there. Okay, so let's try this. So again, we are at, this is 0 because we use a flashlight charge, and we have an intellect of 3, and we'll draw that one, -1, so that's 2, but we're okay because that was a 0, so we pass. All right, so now Wendy is exhausted, but what we're going to do, we're all in the same location here, we're going to turn in our clues, and we are going to turn them in order to advance the act deck. So let's read this here. Lots of words, so I'm going to read it. Pull it close to me so I can see it. You notice that the edges of your newly purchased rug are tattered and mud-stained. Man, I hate when that happens. Finding the side, you shift the furniture aside and pull back the rug. To your surprise, you see the door leading out of your study. You slowly turn the knob and the door swings open, revealing your hallway below. You jump through the doorway, landing on your feet on the soft dirt. The door to the study slams shut above you. The smell of burning wood fills the narrow hall, intermingled with the scent of rot and decay. So it says here, put into play the set-aside hallway, cellar, attic, and parlor. Discard each enemy in the study. Place each investigator in the hallway and remove the study from the game. Okay, so let's move our investigators out here for a second. So the study's getting removed from the game, so I'm going to set that up here. Now we're going to put into play the hallway. So you see here's the hallway. A moment of panic and disorientation strikes as you land upon the floor of the hallway. The world spins as if turned on its head. So this is the location. Now, you'll notice here that there's an icon here, and then there's 3 at the bottom here. This icon designates the hallway, and this is the locations that it can connect to. So if you look here, the next 3 locations each have an icon that match here. That means from the hallway you can get to any one of these locations. So I'm going to put the hallway here, and then we have the attic that says, the smell of rotten meat assaults your nostrils as you approach the attic stairs. So we'll put that one here. The parlor. So the entrance to the parlor is blocked by a darkly glowing, unfathomable barrier. You cannot move to the parlor. You're unsure of what would happen if you tried to cross the threshold of the strange barrier, but based on its extreme heat, you sure as hell don't want to try. So there you see that, if it focuses. So here's the parlor. And then finally the cellar. The stairs leading down to your cellar are slick and they glisten with a thin layer of ice. So there you have it. All right, so you notice we're putting these with the lock side up. That's because we haven't visited those locations yet. Now, they do sell, a bunch of people have made these things that, kind of like either toothpicks or arrows that can connect, that show you where you can go from wherever. But this is a smaller scenario, so you don't really have to worry about it. We can look and we know that the hallway can go to any one of these three. But if you notice, each one of these only accesses the hallway. So here we go. We are in the hallway now. We have fallen through there. So put into play the set aside. We did that. There were no enemies in the study. Place each investigator in the hallway and remove the study from the game. So we've done that. So we can now discard this card. And now we are on Act 2A, and it says, a glowing barrier blocks the path to your parlor. As you move toward it, intense heat forces you to back away. Picking up a handful of dirt, you toss it at the barrier and watch in horror as the dirt incinerates. Perhaps there's something in the cellar or attic that can help. Objective: when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the requisite number of clues to advance. So you see here, so now this means we need to have 3 per investigator, so 6 clues altogether. Now, when it says objective like that, when the round ends, that means that we can't just, like, this time we advanced whenever. We can't advance the act until the end of the round. So that means we have to be more selective about when we do it. And also, we have to be in the hallway in order to turn in our clues. So that means if, let's say, Wendy has 4 clues and Roland has 2, that they both have to be in the hallway in order to turn it into the 6 for that. All right, so we finished the investigation phase. And now we look here at our little card in the enemy phase. There is none. We have no enemies, so we can skip that altogether. So now we're going to do the upkeep phase. It says reset action. So we're going to flip our cards to say that we are back to normal. I think normal subjective when you're dealing with Arkham stuff, wouldn't you say? And then ready all exhausted cards. So we have no exhausted cards, so we're okay there. Each investigator draws 1 card and gains 1 resource. So here's Roland's resource, here is Wendy's resource, and we get to draw a card. So Roland draws deduction, which is a skill, and if the skill test is successful, discover 1 additional clue. So that's good, that helps us discover clues quicker. Sadly, we are full of assets and skills here. Wendy's card is unexpected courage. So max 1 committed per skill test. So these are basically, if we want to apply this to our skill test, it gives us 2 of anything, which is actually really nice. So that would end the very first round. So now we're going to look and we're going to start the rounds over again. So we start with the Mythos phase. We skip during the first round, so no big deal. So it says place 1 doom on the agenda. So we're going to grab this handy dandy token here and we're going to place it on the agenda. Once we hit 3, we're going to flip over to the next agenda. And things generally get worse as the game goes on. At least, I say that, I'm just assuming that. Like I said, I played this scenario, but, you know, I'm just, typically these, you don't want to stick around in a nutty Arkham area, right? All right, so then advanced agenda, if Doom Threshold is satisfied, which it is not, each investigator draws 1 card from the top of the encounter deck. So now just so you guys believe me that I shuffled the encounter deck, I will shuffle it again. That's good enough because I have shuffled it. So we will start with pulling Roland's. So Flesh Eater, humanoid monster ghoul, spawns in the attic. So that's kind of good. So at least he's not in the hallway. But so this is his, when you fight, this is the skill level that you have to beat. That 4 there, that's how much health he has. That 1 right there is what you need to beat in order to evade him. And then this is what damage he's going to do to you from turn to turn. So we will put him, or her, or it, into the attic. So now, Flesh Eater's not a fun place to be, or rather the attic. And now we'll draw for Wendy, and she draws a ghoul minion. So 2/2/2, humanoid monster ghoul. It was a colossal and nameless blasphemy with glaring red eyes, and it held in bony claws a thing that had been a man, gnawing at the head as a child nibbles at a stick of candy. Yikes. So now because this doesn't have any other location, this is going to spawn in the hallway. And because it doesn't have any, I believe it's the prey keyword, it's going to engage Wendy directly. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put this, we're gonna scooch this down a little bit, and we're gonna put that right there with Wendy. So now Wendy is engaged, and not the type of engaged that means she's gonna get married. This is the engaged, she's fighting this creepy ghoul minion thing. So now we can think here, so you don't have to go in turn order. You just pick an investigator that you want to go first. Do we want Wendy to go first to have her defeat this ghoul minion? Boy, she's pretty weak when it comes to fighting. She only has a combat skill of 1, you see there, that focuses, whereas this guy has a skill of 2, so she's already coming from behind. So we have the switchblade that we could play, and if we do the fight, if we succeed at our skill check, it's going to do extra damage. So it's still going to be difficult to do that damage, but we do have the unexpected courage, which we can help through the skill test. So maybe that's what we want to do. So for our first action, we are going to use 1 resource and play the switchblade. Now, if you look here, each of these has a little hand logo on the bottom. Now, that means that's 1 for each of your hands. So you can hold 2 hands worth of things. So we have 2 now. Granted, the flashlight we have no charges for, so does it really mean we should hold on to it? Probably not, but we can discard it whenever we want. So let's consider here, let's consider what we want to do. So we're going to start with Wendy, and we are going to fight this ghoul minion. Now, again, we have a combat value of 1. They have a defense, or they have a combat value of 2. So we're already losing. We're going to use the fight from the switchblade, and I am going to play this unexpected courage, which is going to give us 2 already because there's 2 wilds. So we are technically at 2 and 3. So it's 3 against 2, and we're gonna go for it. 3 against 2. We're gonna draw, as long as we draw something not hugely negative. Isn't that how this game works? -2. So we just totally canceled that out, which means technically we would lose. But when we reveal a chaos token, we can choose and discard based on her power. So I have to pick to discard one of these. Or I can actually, instead of doing that, I can play lucky. When I would fail a skill test, get +2 to your skill value for that test. So that would give us 3 again. We would beat it by 1. Still would only do 1 damage. What do I want to do? I would like to beat this by 2 or more. This is going to be, some of you are going to tell me it's a dumb move. I'm going to discard this emergency cash so that way I can redraw this. So currently we have 3 to 2. I'll draw that. And that doesn't look good. -X. X is the number of ghoul enemies at your location. So there's 1. All right, so technically this would be -1. So it would be 2 on 2. So we would defeat it. So we can't play this because it's when we would fail a skill test. So we do 1 damage to the hellhound, or to the ghoul minion. Oops. So you put that on it. That was 1 attack. Discard that. That was 1 action. We're going to go it again. We're going to use the fight action again from the switchblade. Actually, this will be our 3rd action, right? Because the first action was equipping the switchblade. All right, so let's draw in here. It's a 1 to 2 skill. Let's hope for the best. +1. No way. So it's 2 to 2, so we do 1 damage and we kill it. So that's 2. Boom. Ghoul minion has been eliminated. So this enemy is now gone. Just discard it here, actually. I don't know if we ever have to go through the discard deck of the encounter deck, but who knows? We'll see. So now she's exhausted, And now we move on to Roland Banks. Now Roland has Jack Nothing in his hand. So what do we want to do? We can't go to the attic, which is fine because there's this flesh eater there. We could go to the parlor. Oh no, I'm sorry. We can't go to the parlor. We can go to the attic or we can go to the cellar. Cellar has ice on the steps. The attic has a flesh eater and I can't go to the parlor. We're gonna move to the cellar. That seems like the logical thing to do. So I'm gonna move for the first action. Roland's gonna go to the cellar. So now that we're there, we can reveal this. And this says, forced, after you enter the cellar, take 1 damage. Okay, so let's do that first. Roland's gonna take a damage. It says, your cellar seems to have been replaced with an underground network of icy tunnels and caravans. The cold chills you to the core. So I don't know if we're taking 1 damage because we fell down the steps, the ice on the steps. But we can put this here. And that 2 in the investigator means there are 4 total available skills there. All right, and then so it's going to be a 4 if we do our intellect check in order to investigate. So that was 1. We moved for 1. We have a 3. We need 4. Let's take a look at what we have here. All right, I think what I'm going to do here is this magnifying glass. I think this is a fast, which means it doesn't cost an action to play it. So I'm going to pay 1 resource to play this, and this is going to give me +1 intellect when investigating. So that's 2 actions now. So now if I were to investigate, I would actually at least have 4 to the 4. So I think I'm also going to play the deduction card. So this is a skill. It doesn't cost anything to play, and it's going to add us 1 of these intellects. Now, if the skill is successful when doing the investigation, I get to get an extra clue. So we're going to play this here for its little intellect. So now we have 1, 2, +3, so we have 5, and we need 4 in order to discover a clue. So let's see what's going to happen here. This one. Uh-oh. We pulled a skull. And the skull gives us -2. If there's a ghoul enemy at your location, take 1 damage. So we're not going to take 1 damage, but it gives us -2. So these are gone, the +1 as well as the that. So we fail that. So that was a waste of an action. So the deduction skill is discarded. And that is our 3 actions, right? So 1 to move, 1 to play the magnifying glass, and 1 to investigate. So that really stunk. But at least Wendy was able to destroy that ghoul thing, the ghoul minion, so we're okay there. All right, so now let's take a look here, and we'll see that that is the end of the investigation phase. Now we're going to go to the enemy phase. Enemies with the hunted keyword move towards the nearest investigator. So if we look here, this flesh eater does not have the hunted keyword, or the hunter. So flesh eater is going to stay there, and each engaged enemy attacks have able. Well, we have no enemies that are engaged, so I want to kind of turn this sideways. I don't think that's an active card. I'll just flip it over, actually. Okay, so that's it for that. So now upkeep phase, reset actions. So we're going to flip our mini cards. Wendy, I need your help over here. And then we'll ready all exhausted cards, of which are none. Each investigator draws 1 card and gains 1 resource. So 1 resource, 1 resource. And Roland draws a knife. So we get +1 if we fight with it, or +1 for the strength attack. Discard the knife and we get +2 and it deals 1 extra damage. So that's kind of cool. So we're gonna put this in our hand here. So Roland's starting to beef up a little bit. Oh, what am I doing? We're not gonna put that, we're gonna put that here for when we play it later. All right, and now Wendy, she draws another flashlight. So that's kind of nice. So we're gonna get 3 more uses. So I like the flashlight. So we'll hold on to that one. I'll plan that for sure. And now we check our hand size and discard down to 8 cards. We're nowhere near having to worry about that. So that is the end of round 2. All right, so now we're going to go back to the Mythos phase. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the Doom counter there. I'll walk through this with you guys. Advance the agenda if the Doom threshold is satisfied. We only have 2, we need 3, so we're good there. And each investigator draws 1 card from the top of the encounter deck. Dun, 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 dun. This is for Roland. Ancient Evils. Revelation. Place 1 Doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. All right, so we'll put 1 here, and that makes it 3. So this is going to advance. So let's get rid of that. So we'll flip this, and it says, your house continues to change before your very eyes. The walls have decayed, and the ground in many rooms has turned to dirt. It is almost as if you have been transported somewhere else entirely, although every now and again you recognize elements of your former home. The lead investigator must decide. Choose 1. Either each investigator discards 1 card at random from his or her hand, or the lead investigator takes 2 horror. Yikes. Okay, so here's the, that's a problem. So we either discard a card from our hand. Now, we've got a bunch of stuff in our hand. Some of it's junky, not junky. I don't know that anything's really junky in this game. But like some of these things I wouldn't mind getting rid of if that's okay. Although if I play this, okay. But I don't want to lose her cards because I really want the flashlight. And lucky is helpful for our investigation. But take 2 horror, I can only take up to 5, and there's no way to heal that I'm aware of. Boy, oh boy. So what say you guys? What would you do? I think I've got to discard a card. I don't want to get horror, right? Because we're going to need to get 6 to advance that act. We don't have any yet. And how much horror? See, like this guy here, if he attacks, he would give 2 horror during an attack. So we're going to discard a card randomly. And starting with the medical text. So goodbye to the card that lets us heal. Not too bad based on what he had in his hand. Now these, I think I'd rather keep the flashlight. And stop. Oh, good. So I discard lucky. Cool, so she still has that extra flashlight there. So not so bad. Now for Wendy to draw her card. Boom. Swarm of Rats. Creature Hunter. A horde of cruel rats skitter forth in an undulating wave of claws, teeth, and mottled fur. So you see they only have a strength of 1 and a health of 1, but it's hard to run away from them, and they're hunters, so they're going to chase her down. So we're going to put this, because Wendy drew it, it goes to her, and she is now engaged. And again, not the type of engage that you throw a party over. All right, so now let's see here. I think I want to start with, I think I want to move Wendy over to the cellar. Now, before I move her, I'm going to want to take care of these rats, because if I don't, so I can move from location to location even though I'm engaged with this enemy. However, if I do that, if I do move without attacking them first, they would do an opportunity attack and they would deal me damage. So it'd be like a free attack. So I think the smart thing to do is going to be to have Wendy fight these rats first. So now she has a combat value of 1. And the rats have a combat value of 1 as well. And this isn't going to help me. We're just going to have to fight it. Worst case scenario, we discard this card and try to redraw. So it's 1-1. Let's just not draw anything crummy, okay? Can we do that? I think of this one right here. This feels good. The skull. -2. There's a ghoul enemy at your location, take 1 damage. So we don't. So what do we want to do? Do we want to take that and just try again? I'd rather not discard this card if I could help it. So, man. All right, we're going to try this again. We're going to try to attack again. So this is our second action. We drew a -3, so that's even worse. Oh boy. I think we're going to have to discard. We're going to discard the flashlight. Oh, I hate doing that. Let's try this again. One more time. So we're using her power to redraw. We drew a 0. So we have 1, they have 1. So hey, we kill it. Unfortunately, that took us 2 of our actions. But now at least we can move, and we're going to move to the cellar, where if we had cards, we'd be able to help him, but we can't. Wait, what a bummer, huh? All right, now Roland's turn. So Roland, so he wants to investigate. What do we have here? So that's a 4, he's got a 3 plus 1, so he's got a total of 4 to investigate. What do we have here? The old book of lore. And this is advanced old book, exhausted, choose an investigator. They can search the top 3 cards of a deck. Okay, well, I don't think we really need to do that right now. Wendy doesn't have any cards. This is not good at all. Oh, and you know what? Wendy moved to the cellar, forced, she's going to take a damage. Maybe that was not the wisest move, but hey, maybe they can work together, right? Shoot. We are going to use our first action to draw a card, and we drew a flashlight. Yay. Which actually isn't too bad. Our second action, we're going to take a resource. In our third action, we're going to play this flashlight because that will help us do this investigation. So we have 3 charges on that. And unfortunately, though, that's the end of his actions for this round. All right, so now we move on to the enemy phase. Any hunters? Neither of us are engaged. That's not a hunter, so that one's going to stay. And we are all hanging out in the cellar. So we'll go to the upkeep phase. We can reset our actions. So we're going to flip these. And then no exhausted cards to ready. Now each investigator is going to gain a resource and draw a card. Let's start with Wendy. Wendy's card is Scavenging, which after you successfully investigate by 2 or more, exhaust Scavenging, choose an item card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. Wow, that's awesome. That's an awesome card. And that's an asset, that's a talent that just stays in play. So let me see here, does this have a hand or anything? Yeah, no hands. All right, so now let's see, look at that again. Yeah, it's crazy. Cool, so we're gonna draw Roland's card here, and we draw a guard dog. Oh, that thing, chewing on some tentacle action. When an enemy attack deals damage to the guard dog, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. Nice. So this is a good ally to have. All right, so now we're going back to the, look at here, we're gonna do the Mythos phase. We're gonna place 1 Doom counter on the current agenda. Each investigator draws 1 card. So we're gonna start again. We'll do Roland here. And Dissonant Voices. Revelation, put Dissonant Voices into play in your threat area. You cannot play assets or events. Forced, at the end of the round, discard Dissonant Voices. Okay, so Roland is he's gone a little nutty here. He's hearing things. Ah! He's not feeling sharp enough to play assets or events, where if you look at our hand too, we have 4 assets. So we would not be able to play any of these. Now we should still be able to play them for their value here, but not play them as assets or events. All right, so let's see what happens to Wendy. Maybe one of these is like, hey, it's your birthday, have some cake. Obscuring Fog, a hazard. Revelation, attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 Shroud. After attached location is successfully investigated, discard the Obscuring Fog. Is that a Stegosaurus? All right, so it just got foggy in the, let's move these out of the way, in the cellar. So that's kind of a bummer. Okay, well, I guess that could be worse. So let's do our investigation now. We need to get rid of the fog. We need to investigate in order to do so. So we're going to start Wendy. Oh, I don't have the flashlight anymore. Son of a gun. But I am going to play this asset. So it's going to cost me 1 resource for Wendy. And we will... Right, I want her to go first. Let me think about this. 4, yeah. Yep, okay. So scavenging, she has that now. Which means if we investigate by 2 or more, exhaust it, choose an item card in our discard pile and add it to our hand. If we do an investigate, so let's think about this. She has an intellect of 3. The shroud value is 4, which is actually 6. So what are the odds of us drawing anything good? So her second action, I'm going to go ahead and draw a card. I drew knife. A knife's not going to help us investigate anything, is it? So I could try to move to the attic, but then she's going to have to face the flesh eater. I don't want to do that. I'm going to draw again. For third action, she's going to draw. She drew a baseball bat. Fight, you get +2 strength. So attack. So that's not a bad asset, but that takes 2 hands. Okay. Well, that's the end of her turn. That was her 3 actions. That was a crappy turn. All right, so we'll go over to Roland now. Roland, he can't play anything out of his hand. We have a 3 intellect. We need a 6, 4 + 2. I could spend one of these, which would be -2. And I actually get +1 to investigate. So we have 4, 5, 6 to 6. All right, so we're going to do it. We're going to investigate. I can't even, none of these even have the icon to match. Although Wendy can add a card. She doesn't have one that matches. So, okay, we're good. So we're just going to have to straight up draw. So we have 3 intellect +1 here, so 4 plus 2 here, 5, 6. So it's 6 on 6. We drew -1, so we fail. So first action is a fail. We're going to do that again. Same thing again. I mean, we have no choice really, right? What are we going to do, draw cards? We draw a -4, so that stunk. All right, so let's try third time's a charm. Come on, let's make this happen. This one felt stuck. Oh, this isn't going to be good. -X. X is the number of ghoul enemies at your location. Oh, there aren't any. Woohoo! So we actually succeeded. So that can go in the bag. So after attached location successfully investigated, we can discard this. So that's nice. So he's going to get this. Cool. But that was his third go. So look at that. A whole entire round, and all we did was got 1 clue. Ugh. All right, so enemy phase. Again, we don't have any hunters, so we're good there. We could skip that. So we'll do upkeep. So we're going to flip these guys back over. Ready all of our exhausted cards, of which we have 0. And each investigator draws 1 card and a resource. So here's a resource for you and a resource to go to your stack here. And Roland draws guts. Max 1 committed per skill test. If it's successful, draw a card. So that's kind of cool. And it adds 2 willpower. Although I don't think we've done any willpower checks yet. Now we'll do Wendy gets to draw her card, and she draws Sneak Attack, which is a tactic. Deal 2 damage to an exhausted enemy at your location. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's a crazy looking picture. It looks almost like his face is melting. It's not, but okay. And now we check our hand size, discard down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're okay. All right, so Mythos phase again. We're going to place the Doom token on the agenda. We're going to advance it. We don't have to. And now we're going to draw here. So this is Roland. Crypt Chill. Okay, it's a treachery. Revelation. Test willpower. Didn't we just talk about that there? Test willpower 4. If you fail, choose and discard 1 asset you control. If you cannot, take 2 damage instead. All right, so test willpower. So we have to do a test of 4. We have 3. I think we're going to play this one to give us a total of 5. So this is going to help us. 3, 4, 5. And she can help us, but she doesn't have any cards that will help us. So we have 3, 4, 5. against a 4. So let's see if we could draw better than we were drawing for those investigate actions. It's this one. No, I don't want that one. Okay, we're going to take this one. The skull. That's not good, is it? No, minus X. X is the number of ghouls. There aren't any. Woohoo! That's the one we drew just a minute ago, right? Duh. Cool, so we succeed. So because our test is, why can I not say successful? Because our test is successful, we get to draw a card. So we draw Dr. Milan Christopher. We get +1 knowledge, and after we successfully investigate, we gain a resource. I kind of like this guy better than I like the beat cop, because we need to investigate stuff. Okay, so now let's see what she's going to draw here. Sounds fantastic. Rotting remains. Test willpower 3. For each point you fail by, take 1 horror. Ugh. So her willpower is a 4. We don't have anything that adds. Okay. Now, Roland can add and help, but I don't think we want to chance it. So she has 4. That has a 3. Let's draw and see what happens. -2. That's not good. So we're going to use the action because I don't want to take a horror. We're going to discard a card and use her power. And we will discard... We're going to discard knife because I think I want to use a baseball bat for a little bit. So we'll discard knife and we will try this again. yeah, no, we fail. Okay. So, oh no. I like the old one better. That's a -4. So we technically have 0. We had to have 3. So we failed by 3. So we take 3 horror. Oh, that was not good. That was not good at all. Yuck. All right, now back to the investigator's turn. Oh, by the way, Dissonant Voices is gone now. At the end of the round, we got to discard it. So that's good. Oh, I don't like this at all. Okay. So I want to, because we want to do some investigation, we got to get Dr. Milan Christopher out because he's going to help us investigate better. So I think I'm going to... Some of you guys are probably shaking your head going, why are you taking so long? I could take 2 resources and I'm playing Milan Christopher and discarding my beat cop. Or I can move and try to fight this flesh eater over here and see what the attic has for us. I don't have any weapons. Oh, I have a knife. Let's do that. This is probably going to be dumb, but we're gonna take our chances. So I'm going to play the knife, action number 1. And we're going to discard the flashlight card. That's 1 action. Action number 2 is we're going to move to the attic and see what happens. Forced. As you enter the attic, take 1 horror. Boy, it must be scary in that attic. All right. It says... The bloody carcass of a malformed beast swings from a meat hook chained to the ceiling. Blood drains slowly from the carcass, dripping into a small barrel. Well, that's a bit excessive, isn't it? So there's going to be 4 clues here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now the flesh eater is going to engage with Roland. Now, I believe because I moved there, that doesn't cost me an engage action. Let's take a look at our trusty rules reference. So we're going to look here at enemy engagement 10. While an enemy card is in play, it's either engaged with an investigator or unengaged and at a location. And blah, blah, blah. Anytime a ready and unengaged enemy is at the same location as an investigator and engages that investigator is placed in the threat area. So it sounds like, because I moved into it, and anytime an entity moves, when an entity or game element moves, can I move the same? I'm going to say that I would get engaged. And yes, I just verified on the Geek that that is the case. So we are engaged with this flesh eater. Okay, so I played the knife for 1 action. I moved for 2 actions. Now we are going to fight this flesh eater. Now I have a strength or a combat skill of 4 plus 1 for the beat cop. Now he has 4 strength. Fight gets +1 strength. Discard knife. Fight, you get +2 strength, and it deals +1 damage. Yeah, I think we want to do that. I definitely think we want to do that. Okay, so we're going to Oh, do we want to do that though? So here's what we could do. So we have a 4 to its 4. So 4 plus 1 is 5, plus this fight is 6. So it's 6 to 4. Now if I discard the knife, I get +2, and it deals +1 damage. And I can also discard the beat cop to deal an extra damage to it. No, we're gonna go vanilla off the start. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna attack vanilla. And the reason I'm gonna do that, because I could discard this guy and discard this and do 3 damage total if I'm successful, right? All means I have to be successful, but he would still last another round. And I wanna be able to deal his attack damage if I need to my ally, because he's going to do 1 strength and 2 horror. Yeah, so let's see. So we have a combat value of 4, 5, 6. So we're going to fight. So it's 6 to 4. Let us see what happens. 6 to 4. We got this one here. Oh, 7 to 4. So that's a successful attack. So we do 1 damage to this flesh eater. Boom. And now see what's cool here is after we defeat an enemy, we can discover a clue at our location. That's exciting. Okay, so that ends Roland's hangout time in the attic. So now let's go over to Wendy, and Wendy is in the cellar, and we were going to investigate, right? Here's what we have in our hand. We have a baseball bat, and we have a sneak attack. We have to do some investigation. We have a 3, that's a 4. And at best we can discard this card, which would give us 1 additional. Cellar's a hard one, man. And we need 6 total, we have 1. Let's draw a card. Action number 1, we draw Hard Knocks. Spend 1 resource, you get +1 or +1. Okay. Boy, I would love to have her amulet in play. All right, we're gonna draw another card. Survival Instinct. This one, if this skill test is successful during an evasion attempt, the evading investigator may immediately disengage from me. Oh, whatever, that's okay. Shoot, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna draw another card. I'm not gonna be able to investigate because I'm already down by 1 because I have 3, I need 4. Yeah, so we're gonna draw another card. Overpower, look at that. We're going to be able to fight some stuff, but that doesn't help us do anything else. Man, what a wasted turn that was. I probably could have played that a whole lot better. Upkeep phase, enemy phase. So the flesh eater is going to attack. All right, so he does, what did I say that was? It was 1. Here, I'll pull this out. So, see here, he's going to do 1 damage and 2 horror. So what I want to do though, because I'm going to give the beat cop 1 of the horror and 1 of the damage, and I'm going to take 1 horror, or not me, but Roland is. And the reason I did that is because I want to keep him alive, because I want to sacrifice him to the flesh eater for his dealing 1 damage. That's it on the enemies, eh? Yeah. All right, so now we do upkeep, so we're going to flip our characters back. Hey, hey, hey. And now each are going to gain 1 resource and draw a card. Roland ends up with Paranoia. Discard all of your resources. Discard all of your resources. Here's our resource tokens. That was awful. All right, and then Wendy gets to draw a card. She draws Cunning Distraction. She's a BA this game. She's going to evade all the enemies, and she's got these strength things. So that's pretty cool. So that's interesting. So draw a card and gain a resource, but I'm assuming that happens immediately. I would have had the resource. All right, and that's it. So now we're going to go to the Mythos phase where we place 1 Doom token here. We don't advance it because we still need 7. And we're going to draw 1 from the encounter deck. So Roland, Crypt Chill, Revelation, test the, what is that, Willpower, 4. If you fail, choose and discard 1 asset you control. If you cannot, take 2 damage instead. All right. So test for Willpower, I have 3. If I fail, discard 1 asset I control. Okay. So I can use this to make it a 4 and just hope for the best. But I would really like to use the Book of Lore. Well, I'm going to use this to give myself the 4. I got to give myself a fighting chance. So technically I have 4 to 4. Let's hope for a 0 or a positive or something good. -2, so we fail that. So we choose and discard 1 asset we control. So we will discard, we're going to discard the magnifying glass. That stinks, but I really want to be able to defeat this flesh eater easily. And now Wendy is going to draw birthday cake, a ravenous ghoul. Prey, lowest remaining health. All right, so this is going, look at that. Look at the art on that thing. That thing is horrifying. All right, so Wendy is now engaged to a ravenous ghoul. Isn't that exciting? All right, so now we're going to start with the actions. So we are going to discard the knife and fight, which gives us a +2 strength. Right, because I have another weapon in here. I don't have another weapon in here. It doesn't matter. We're going to go for it. So this gives us +2 strength. So this puts us at, or +2 combat value. So this puts us at 6 to 4. I'm going to discard, let's start by discarding the beach cop. So we discard the cop, we're going to deal 1 damage to the flesh eater. So I'm going to discard, no, pause that. We're going to discard the knife to fight. This gives us +2, +1, so that's 3, 7 to 4. And then we'll discard the beat cop. -1, so 6 to 4. So we get that, so that does 2 damage. Right? And then we're going to do the discard this guy to get rid of the last one. So both of these are gone. We destroy him. Why was math so hard on that? Okay. And after we defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location. So, hey, look at that. We now have 2 clues. So that was Roland's first action. Now we have no assets, or no resources. And we need some, huh? So we're going to go ahead and grab 2 with our next 2 actions, because I want to play Dr. Milan Christopher, so that way it'll hopefully get us some resources quicker. So that ends Roland. Okay, now we have to figure this one out. So do we want to fight this ravenous ghoul? It has a combat value of 3. We have a combat value of 1. What's in our hand here? So here's the deal. I have overpower, which would add us 2 permanently, or for this. So that would give us 3 to 3. Hard knocks. Hard knocks isn't bad. That lets us bump ourselves on occasion. Baseball bat. Get +2. So if you use a baseball bat, yeah, we would get +2 for this attack, and it deals +1 damage. But we have a chance of breaking the baseball bat. I kind of think I want to try the baseball bat. So we are going to use 2 resources and discard the switchblade and the flashlight, because this takes 2 hands. And now we have a baseball bat. So now fight, if we get +2 for this attack. So that puts us at 3 total, 3 on 3. Do we want to play 3 on 3? Yeah, we're going to draw. We're going to see what happens. We're just going to draw. So we have 3 because we're fighting on this, so +2 and 1, so that's 3, and the ghoul has 3. So let's see what we draw. -1, so it's 3 on 2. We don't want to do that, so let's discard a card. No, do I want to do that yet? No, we're going to let that one go. So it's 1, that was 2, or do I want to? Hold on, I'm thinking this one through. Yeah, I'm going to discard this card here, the Survival Instinct, and I'm going to try to draw something better. So again, it's 3 to 3, and I drew the Elder Sign. Effect +0 if Wendy's ammo. Cool. So we do a damage, or we succeed, and the attack deals 1 extra damage. That is fantastic. So this guy here, this Ravenous Ghoul, has 2 damage. So that was 2 actions, right? Because I did the baseball bat, and then we did the attack. All right, so let's go for again. We're going to fight here. So again, it is 3 on 3. This time we're going to play Overpower. So that technically gives us, that technically gives us 5 on 3. So we should have a pretty good chance here. And we drew a 0. So we didn't need to play this card, but hey, the test was successful, so we get to draw a card so we can replace that. And we draw Pickpocketing as a replacement, which, okay, that's not too bad. But we defeat the Ravenous Ghoul because we just did 2 more damage to it. But then that's our 3. I feel like I'm in the cycle of nothingness. I'm constantly fighting. Maybe that's not the right plan of attack. Wow, that's both my characters. That's it, huh? No! So we have a total of 2 clues. We need 4 more. All right, so enemy phase. There are no enemies out there. Yay, that's nice, right? So then we can go right to the upkeep phase. So we're gonna refresh our peeps. Hey, hey. Now we each draw a card and gain a resource. So here's a resource and a resource. Roland's card is a Kniffy. Yay, that's not bad. And Wendy's card is a rabbit's foot, which after you fail a skill test, exhaust it and draw a card. Well, that's kind of cool. That lets you do stuff. All right, we've been at it for a little while here. I'm thinking that we have to start being more proactive because I don't think time is going to be on our side. So, okay, so the Mythos phase, place a Doom token, doesn't advance yet. And we draw a top card from the encounter deck. Seems like we just cleaned these up. Icy Ghoul for Roland. Spawn in the cellar. Oh. Sorry. And it is going to attach itself to Wendy. And now Wendy is going to draw Grasping Hands, Revelation, take an evade test, 3. For each point you fail by, take 1 damage. So she has an evade of 4. I think we're going to be okay. We're going to chance it. We're not going to fail. It's just that easy. We are not going to fail. So evade test 3. She's got 4. We'll want, ooh, these three are stuck together. I don't want any of them. All right, we're gonna take this guy. -4, are you kidding me? We are going to use her skill test. We're gonna discard a card and try that again. So we're gonna discard, I definitely want the rabbit's foot. I like cunning distraction because I can use it for 2 different skill types. This is kind of nice because if I evade an enemy and then they'd be exhausted so I could deal 2 damage to them. I want to hold on to that. Oh boy, what do I get rid of? I think I get rid of Hard Knocks. I'm gonna get rid of Hard Knocks. Probably a dumb move, but that's what I'm gonna do. So now I'm gonna try to draw again. We're not gonna draw anything bad. So we draw a -1. So what were we at? We were at 4 evade versus 3, so it's 3 to 3. So hey, we succeed. Yay! All right, now it's the investigator's turn. So we could do a couple of attacks on the icy ghoul, or we could do an attack and do 2 damage to it if everything goes well. Evade it, and then play a card to do 2 damage to the exhausted enemy, right? Because if I recall, and let me just double check, when I evade an enemy, I exhaust that enemy. Yep, it's exhausted, and the engagement is broken. So that's not a bad thing. I could automatically evade all enemies, but that's no good. Okay, so we are going to, and I have a rabbit's foot, so if I do fail a skill test, I can exhaust it and draw a card. Now let's focus on fighting this enemy. Okay, so get +2 for this attack, so that puts us at 3 to 3. Three to 3. Do I have anything to buff that? I don't. Maybe I start by evading it. We're going to do this different. We're going to play this different. So we're going to play the rabbit's foot. This is a pendant. That means if we fail a skill test, we can exhaust it and draw a card. So at least we'll be able to beef up our deck, our hand. And then that was action number 1. My second action is I am going to evade. So I have 4 to 4. I have this talent here. After you evade an enemy, exhaust, pickpocketing, and draw a card. Do I want to load that? I feel like I do. I am going to, but this would be 2 actions. That would be a waste. So yeah, I'm going to take back the rabbit's foot and I'm going to play pickpocketing. That's going to cost me 1 additional one. Okay, that was action 1. Action 2, we're going to evade. All right, so let's see here. It's 4 to 4. We draw a -1. Son of a gun. I didn't have anything to help me. Do I want to discard a card? I think I have to. I'm going to discard this one here. And we're going to try that again. I don't know why I'm hoping for good luck here. This is Arkham Horror. This isn't Arkham Good Luck. Hey, 0. That was good luck. So I evade this enemy. So this enemy is now exhausted here. And now, for my third action, I'm going to play Sneak Attack. It's going to cost me 2 resources. Boom. And deal 2 damage to an exhausted enemy at your location. So we will do 2 damage to this icy ghoul. But then that's the end of Wendy's turn. Still didn't investigate squat. I feel like they would have done better if they stuck together, but nah, we are where we are. So now this has a value of 1. We have an investigate. So I can start investigating here. Is it worth spending 2 actions to bring Dr. Milan Christopher into play? I think it is. So action number 1, we're going to do that. Action number 2, we're going to play him. So we get rid of these. And then action number 3, we are going to investigate. So we have a 3 + 1, 4 intellect on 1. And we draw a 0. Sweet. So we succeed, and it says here, after you successfully investigate, I'll show that to you guys. After you successfully investigate, gain 1 resource. So I will take that resource. And then after you defeat an enemy, effect +1 for each. No, so okay. So we get a clue. So we at least have 3. But that's his actions. So now we're going to go to the enemy phase. So let's take a look here. So enemies with the hunter keyword move towards the nearest investigator. So this guy is not a hunter. Let's just verify. It's a humanoid monster ghoul spawn in the cellar. He's exhausted. So he's not going to move anywhere. So each engaged enemy attacks if able. So nobody's engaged, so we're good. Okay, so now we'll go to the upkeep phase. So we're going to reset our actions. So we'll flip these guys over. And then ready all exhausted cards. So now that he's readied, he's going to re-engage with Wendy Adams. But at least we bought ourselves a little bit there. Each investigator draws 1 card and gains 1 resource. So there's for him and for her. And we'll draw her card first. She draws Elusive. Fast play only during your turn. Disengage from each enemy engaged with you and move to a revealed location with no enemies. That is not bad. And then we'll see what Roland draws. Hyper Awareness. Spend a resource to get an intellect and to get an evade or agility. Okay. That will end that, and make sure we don't have 8 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. All right, so I will say we've played a handful of rounds this turn, and it's kind of been a mundane game. Not a lot has been happening. I feel like I'm being more reactive now. When I played this last night so that I could get comfortable with the rules, there was a lot more action going on. So I guess it really depends on how you play and what the card draw is. So we'll see. Let's keep weathering on. So we're going to advance the Doom here. So we're at 5. So that doesn't advance yet. So we place a Doom token, and we draw a card from the encounter deck. So now here is for Roland. Ghoul minion, humanoid monster ghoul. So this is going to engage Roland. And now for Wendy, Frozen in Fear. Put Frozen in Fear into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, it costs 1 additional action. At the end of your turn, test 3. If you succeed, discard. So first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade, it costs an additional action. That stinks. All right, so we'll just put that, we'll put it here. All right, so that is no good. So Wendy is in the situation where she's engaged with an icy ghoul and she's frozen in fear, which, man, that you gotta admit, that's pretty thematic. The ghoul, she got away from it and the ghoul just came back at her and now she is in terror. I kind of like that. It tells a good story. Is the goal to investigate? Well, we can't advance the barrier on here until we're both in the hallway anyway. We only have 3 clues. I think I have to fight. This is my hand. Nothing that I want right now that'll help me fight. I could draw a card. So I could disengage and move to another location, but I can't because there's a monster in the attic with Roland. And I can't go to the parlor. I'd have to go to the hallway. That'd be a total waste. Oh, man. I'm going to draw a card for one. Or I feel like I want to play the amulet or the rabbit's foot. And what is his attack? 2 health and a madness. Ooh, she's going to go nutso by the end of the game. Shoot, so I've got some AP on this one. I don't know how to proceed. We haven't seen any of her allies yet, though. I'm going to draw a card. Opportunist, and that says commit only to a skill test you are performing. If you succeed by 3 or more, return opportunist to your hand after this test instead of discarding it. So, okay, so I get 1 here. So it would basically give me an additional whatever, and if it helps me succeed by 3 or more, I could put it back in my deck. That's kind of eh. Okay, so for combat, I have 1, 2, 3. I need, 3. I should have waited on drawing that card. All right, we're going to attack the icy ghoul with the baseball bat. It's going to cost us our last 2 actions. We get a +2. So it is 3 combat on 3. And we are going to draw this. -1. So I'm going to discard a card from the hand. I should have played the opportunist on that one. Didn't think that one through. Get rid of elusive because it's not going to help me. Let's try this again. Come on, big money, no whammy. And there's 2 stuck together here. I want this one. Stop. And that is a -1. And if you fail, take 1 horror. And we fail that, right? Because we had +2, so that was 3 -1 is 2. Bummer. Okay. So we get a horror. And this thing, when this attacks me, it's going to give me another horror. All right, so now force at the end of your turn, test for 3. If you succeed, discard Frozen in Fear. So we're going to do that. We have 4. We draw a -3. We are going to discard a card. We're going to discard the opportunist. We're going to try this again. Come on, Wendy, where's your luck? You're the urchin. I don't know what that has to do with anything. All right, what is this? A -2. So we fail that test, right? Because we have 3, or wait, rather 4, test 3. Oh, hold on a second. We drew a shroud before, right? We drew the shroud, it was a -1, which would have given us a 3. We needed a 3. So give me this card back. We actually passed that test. So we can discard this. All right. So we're good going forward. Now we go over to Roland. So Roland is engaged with this ghoul minion. So I think we could punch him. We only have 4. It's only going to do 1 damage, but we have a weapon. So I'm going to play knife for 1. So it gives us a +1. No, I'm not going to play the knife. I'm going to hold on to knife. Screw it, I'm going to play the knife. I am going to play the knife. And then I'm going to attack. I get +1, so I got 5 to the ghoul minions 2. And I draw a -4. How is that possible? How can I draw so poorly? All right, so let's try again. My 3rd action for Roland, we're going to attack again. 0, so it's a 5 to a 2, so we do a damage. Oops. So that's something anyway, right? Okay. So that's his last action. So now we go from that to the enemy phase. So enemies with the hunted keyword, they're going to move towards the nearest investigator. And then each engaged enemy is going to attack. It will start with Wendy. It's going to do 2 damage. So this is going to go to a 3 and 1 sanity. So she's almost lost it, man. And then for him, he's going to take 1 and 1. So he'll take the health. I'm going to give the madness to Dr. Milan, Christopher. And now we do the upkeep phase, so everything flips. We each get a resource token. we're going to draw a card. She draws backstab tactic. Fight. This uses agility instead of strength. That's kind of cool, actually, for her. And then Roland draws vicious blow. If this skill is successful attack, it deals 1 damage. I like that. Okay. Now we are going to advance or add a doom counter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to advance our next turn. We don't want that to happen, I don't think. And then Roland's going to draw this. Dissonant voices. Excellent. Cannot play assets or events at the end of the round discarded. Okay. And then she draws Swarm of Rats. So that's a thing, huh? So she's getting overwhelmed here. So I get her going mad. All right. So let's start off with, who do I want to go first? So she needs to do 2 more damage to this icy ghoul. And she also needs to defeat a swarm of rats. I need to defeat this minion and do some investigating. I'm going to start. We have 3 clues total. I'm going to start with Roland. All right, so Roland has a strength of 4, 5 to 2. So we are going to do this. Skull. Minus X. X is the number of ghoul enemies at your location. There's 1. So technically then I have 4 to 2. So I still succeed. I do a 2nd damage and I kill the ghoul minion. Boom. Now, after you defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location. So we're at least up to 4. So that was the first action. All right, the second action, if we investigate here, we're definitely going to investigate here. So I have 3 intellect, plus 1 is 4. I need 1. Let's see what happens. Boom. Skull again, number of ghoul tokens, no problem. We did it. So we get this. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now he's going to have to move. Okay, so let's think. We attacked and failed, right? Did we attack and fail the first time? Oh, I want to say we attacked and failed. Then we attacked and killed it. Oh, I'm losing my mind, and I don't want to rewind to find out. I think we attacked and failed the first time. I think that's it for our actions. Oh, this could be life or death. That could have meant I could move, and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that was it. I'm going to call that it. All right, so, but at least we're in a good situation. We'll move over to the cellar to help her in a minute. Or if she can get a clue, we'll move over to the hall, but it's not looking good for her. All right, so she's going to attack. She's going to start by attacking the icy ghoul. And I think she will, I want to play backstab. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my last 3 resources of hers to play backstab. And this says fight. This attack uses agility instead of whatever that is, combat. And deals plus 2 damage. So I could, in theory, defeat this guy. So the fight is agility. So my agility is 4. Now, would that be 4? Would I compare it to his 4 as well, the Icy Ghoul's 4? I'm going to guess yes. Do I have anything that can help? I'm going to play this to help. So I have 5 to 4. Well, let's think about this. 5 to 4. Give me these 3 back. Give me these 3 back. We're thinking this one back. What I think she wants to do, because it's already going to do 2 damage, so we're good with this. So we're going to play, instead of that, we're going to play the I'm finally going to play this rabbit's foot because I think I'm going to need this. So we play the rabbit's foot for 1, and then I am going to attack the icy ghoul. I have a 1, 2, 3 on 3, and I'm going to play the opportunist. So it's technically a 4 on 3. I draw a 0. Sweet. So I do 2 damage, and I don't get to put that back in my hand, but it's okay. I did 2 damage to the Icy Ghoul, so the Icy Ghoul is dead. And I have one more combat, or one more action, and I'm going to attack the swarm of rats. So I have 3 to the rats 1, and I draw a -2. So it's a 1 to a 1, so I still succeed. So swarm of rats are dead. So not the best turn with regards to investigation, really. I mean, he did a little bit, so not too bad. So that ends that, so we'll do upkeep. So we're gonna flip these 2. All exhausted cards are ready. This is gonna go away because it's the end of the round. And then we're gonna gain a resource each. Each investigator gets a card, so she draws Unexpected Courage. Max 1 committed skill. Okay, so that's 2 wild, so that's cool. Although I don't know if I would have expected courage at all, or unexpected facing that thing. And then he draws manual dexterity, and that's for agility. Okay. Now we're going to place the doom counter, and that brings us to 7. So, ladies and gentlemen, our agenda is going to advance. I am going to make a mess of the game table here. All right, so let's see. We'll flip this. A feral beast, roughly humanoid with a canine cast and hooves for feet, tears through the ground in front of you. Below the floor, you can see vast tunnels beneath your house. Fiendish howling echoes from deep within the underground caverns. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a ghoul enemy is discarded. The lead investigator draws that enemy. Okay. So we will do that. So shuffle the discard, top of the deck. And now we'll discard until we draw a ghoul. First one, Ancient Evils, not a ghoul. Dissonant Voices. Rotting Remains. Grasping Hands. Oh, Swarm of Rats. Ghoul Minion. All right, so that's going to the lead investigator. No big deal. So that's going to get discarded. And now, the new agenda 3A, they're getting out. You hear a crazed howl outside, and suddenly all the creatures turn their attention to that sound. They rush to escape the house, breaking down doors and clawing at everything in their way. Forced. At the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul enemy moves 1 location toward the parlor. Forced. At the end of the round, place 1 doom on this agenda for each ghoul enemy in the hallway or parlor. There's stuff on the back. Okay, so 10 doom to advance that. Ugh. And now we each draw 1 card from the top of the encounter deck. So this will be for Roland, an Icy Ghoul. Excellent. Spawns in the cellar though. Sorry, Wendy. That's a bummer. And then Wendy's going to draw a Swarm of Rats. She just can't win for losing. All right, so let's think this one through. So we have Wendy, and we have Roland. I think, yeah, Roland's going to need to move to the cellar. So action 1, he's in the cellar. Move that on camera a little bit better. Oh, hold on. Let's take that back. I forgot he had the ghoul minion. So let's move him back to the hallway. He's got to fight the ghoul minion first. We're going to, it's a 2-2. So the first action we'll fight. Do I want to discard my knife and just kill it outright the first time? I think I do. I'm going to discard the knife. It's going to give me a +2 strength for the attack, and it's going to deal 1 damage. So it's going to give me 4, 5, 6 to the ghouls 2. As long as I don't draw a tentacle, I should have this one. -2. So that's fine. I still defeat it. I do 2 damage, because that does +1 damage. So the ghoul minion is dead. Now I would get +1 clue on your location, or discover a clue at your location, but I don't have it. So that's action 1. Action 2, we're going to go here. Now, action 3, I can fight, I can research, or investigate. I can engage something to get it off of Wendy, because the icy ghoul is going to do 2 and 1 rats. I feel like I want to engage the icy ghoul, but if I engage the icy ghoul, that's going to end my turn. I could fight it as long as I don't fail. Yeah, so I could fight it, but if I fail, I can hit her instead. I'm going to investigate. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I have 3 plus him is 4. Have anything else that'll help the investigate? I'm going to play this. This is going to give me 5. And yeah. So we'll do 5 to investigate. It's 5 on 4, and I draw a 0. Sweet. So successful. I have 6. Now this objective, when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may as a group spend the requisite number of clues to advance. So unfortunately, that's it for his turn. On the next turn, I'll go to the hallway, and he's going to spend those, and we'll be able to advance that at least. Woohoo! Now on to her. She's got an icy ghoul and a swarm of rats to contend with. What does she want to do? She can try to fight. The icy ghoul has a 3 and a 4. She's going to attack the swarm of rats. We're going to start there. So it's a 1 to her 3. We drew a -4. All right, we're going to call it a fail. We're going to exhaust the rabbit's foot so I can draw a card. We drew a knife, which we don't need right now. All right, we're going to, action number 2, we're going to attack the swarm of rats again. I drew the -4 again. This time we've got to discard a card. I'm going to discard the knife so I can redraw. Let's make sure it's all shuffled. Jeez. So the second action is a -1. So we defeat the swarm of rats. So the rats are gone. And now she is going to evade the icy ghoul. Right? Yes. I mean, the evade and the attack's the same, but if she attacks, yeah, we're going to evade it. So we have to do an agility test. We have 4. So it's 4. We're going to play backstab. Just going to give us 1 extra. No, we're not. It's 4 to 4. We draw a -1, 3 to 4. I should have played that card. Dang it. All right, so I will discard this to try to evade again. I should have played that card instead. I was trying to hoard cards, didn't work out. I drew a -1. Okay, so she does not evade. So that's it. She's exhausted. The enemy phase. Now this enemy is going to attack her, and it's going to do 2 health. And 1 madness. So she's almost insane. All right, so that ends that. Now we will go ahead, and it's the, yeah, we just attacked. So it's going back here. We're refreshing. Refresh this. Let's scoot these over a little bit. I feel like we're coming off the screen here, huh? And each investigator draws a card and gets a resource. Roland draws Mind Over Matter. Fast play only during your turn. You may use knowledge and... Okay. It's fine. And she's going to draw Abandoned and Alone. Take 2 direct horror and remove... Oh, this stinks. Remove all cards in your discard pile from the game. So she takes 2 direct horror, and she's going to be defeated. because this is going to take her to 8, and she has been defeated. Now, what happens when you're defeated? All right, so here we go. Elimination. A player is eliminated from a scenario anytime his or her investigator is defeated or if he or she resigns. The only manner in which eliminated investigators interact with the game when establishing per investigator values. Anytime a player is eliminated. Number 1, the cards he or she controls in play and all of the cards in his or her out-of-play areas, such as hand, deck, and discard pile, are removed from the game. So, okay, so her discard pile, her deck, her hand. I do want to see here. I mean, we didn't get any of her allies. Maybe she didn't have any. Oh yeah, there we go, ally. All right, so those get discarded. Any card that a player owns but does not control remains in play, but if that card leaves play, is removed from the game. So these are all going to go as well. All enemies engaged with that player are placed at the location, and all that player's resource tokens are returned to the token pool. So this is at the location. All enemies... All other cards in the eliminated investigator's threat area are placed in the appropriate discard pile. If the lead investigator is eliminated, the other players choose a new lead investigator, which, no, it was Roland was the lead investigator. And then if there are no remaining players, scenario ends. So, bye-bye, Wendy. Pouring a little out for our homies on this one. Sadly, she has been deceased or defeated. That's not good, guys. That is not good at all. That drawing of the card was pretty vicious. And we check our hand size and bring it down to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I'm going to move this in here a little closer because this is Roland. Let's get him in the center of the game now. I'm afraid that he doesn't have too long to go here with his... Oh, no, he's good on health and everything. All right, so now we are back at the upkeep phase. Now, this ghoul is in this location, so that's instantly going to engage with him. So place 1 doom token here. And let's just say, at the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul enemy moves 1 location to the parlor. Okay, so he was engaged during the enemy phase. At the end of the round, place 1 doom on this agenda for each. Okay, we're good there. Okay, so we'll make a comeback here. All right, so now here, oh, we have to draw a card from the encounter deck. Swarm of rats, these annoying little jerks. All right, so we need to get to the hallway so we could turn in these tokens and advance the act. But I have the rats and the icy ghoul. I have a 4 strength. I can only have 1 ally. So I have the guard dog. I want to keep Dr. Milan, I think. Or what's the icy ghoul going to do? I don't want to just keep attacking, but I think that makes sense because evading is going to be too difficult. So do I have a weapon? I have anything that'll let me do additional damage. Play during your turn? No. Max 1 committed skill. So that could help me to evade and I get to draw a card. Vicious blow, plus 1 damage. I like that. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We are going to fight the icy ghoul. We have a 4 combat to their 3, and I'm going to play vicious blow here. If this skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals plus 1 damage. So we are at 5 to 3. I'm going to draw this guy here. 0. Sweet. So we are going to do 2 damage then. The 1 and then the 2. Now, I guess discarded. So I wonder if I should have done Swarm of Rats, because if I kill them, I can take a clue token for the heck of it. Have anything else in my hand that lets me... I'm going to attack the Swarm of Rats. So 1 to my 4. And I draw a -3, so it's still 1 to 1. So I kill a Swarm of Rats. Yay! And that gets me, after you defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location. I'm at 1 per round, but hey, I'll take it. And now for my third action, I'm going to fight the Icy Ghoul again. And that is going to... I'm a 4, and I have no way to do an extra damage, do I? I do not. Okay. So we're going to just draw. It's my combat value of 4 versus theirs of 3. 0. Hey, it's a damage. So that becomes 3. So the Icy Ghoul has 1 more health left. So we're exhausted here. Enemies with the... Okay, each engaged enemy attacks. So we're engaged. He's going to do 2 health in a madness. Sorry, Dr. Milan. Yeah, sorry, buddy. 1, 2, and then I'll take 1. All right, I wonder if we're going to pull this one off. What do you guys think? So Dr. Milan is dead. And now upkeep phase. So reset our actions, ready all exhausted cards, gain a resource, and draw a card. Whew. Emergency cash. Gain 3 resources. I like this. Okay. Place 1 doom here. Oh, at the end of the enemy phase, we're good, yeah. All right, so that's the doom token. What do we have? Obscuring fog attached to your location, +2 shroud. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't bug me. All right, now it's back to the investigator's phase. So I have to attack. I'm gonna play my guard dog. So this is a 3. When an enemy attack deals damage to guard dog, deal 1 damage to attacking enemy. So this is gonna be my ace in the hole if I can't do this turn. What else do I have? Yeah, so that was first action. Second action, I am going to kill this guy. I have 3. I have 4 to 3. And I draw the tentacles, which is an insta-fail. Yes. All right, so we'll attack again. We draw 0. Good. So that kills him. So that's the last one. I haven't been keeping track of my victories. I think I need those, but we'll figure that one out. All right, so yeah, so this guy actually goes in the victory point display. So I'm just going to put him off. I'm going to put him down by me. Now I know that we've defeated some other things that had victory points, but we'll just kind of chalk that up to playing a harder level, maybe? I don't know. All right, so we defeated him. After you defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location. So I can take that. So what was it? That was play, attack, attack. So that's it. All right, now enemies aren't any. So we'll flip that. I will take one of these and I will draw a card. Flashlight. And that's it. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed about that Icy Ghoul. So here's the deal. We defeated a couple other big things. So when it comes time to figure out what points I get, I'll rewatch and pay attention to the video to see how many victory points we actually have. And we'll spend that before we do the second scenario here. All right, so now we're gonna place 1 doom on the agenda. At the end of the enemy phase, there are no enemies, so I don't have to worry about that. At the end of the round, place 1 doom for each ghoul enemy in the hallway, and there aren't any. Okay, so now I'm going to draw Crypt Chill, Revelation, Test 4. If you fail, choose and discard one asset you control. Okay, so that is my... So it's a 3 on 4. And I don't have anything that I can... So we got to hope for the lucky +1 here. So I have to pass a 4, and I have 3. So we're going to draw this one. Skull. So nothing. We fail that. Choose and discard one asset we control. No, bye-bye, guard dog. Well, if you cannot take 2 damage, no, I'll just get rid of the guard dog. Okay, now it's back to me. Now we are going to move, when the round ends, investigators in the hallway. I'd have to be in the hallway. So I'm going to go to the hallway for 1. Anything I want to play here? 2, I'm going to draw a card. Dynamite Blast. Choose either your location or connecting location. Deal 3 damage to each enemy and to each investigator at the chosen location. That's pretty cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I moved, I've drawn a card. I'm going to take a resource in the event that I want to play this card. So that ends my turn. So I can't do this until the round ends. So we'll do the enemy phase. There are no enemies. Upkeep. So I'm exhausted. I'll flip myself back. Get one of these and I draw a card. Cover up. Put in your threat area with 3 clues on it. Oh, it's a weakness. No! When you discover one or more clues, discard that many clues from cover up instead. Oh, boo. With 3 clues on it. I don't like that. Okay, and each investigator, I'm okay. So now I can do this, right? So it's going to cost me 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll turn in 6 clues, and we get to finally advance Act 2. So it says, using the barrel from the attic, let's do it so you can see it. Here, we'll have you read it this time. I'll listen. Oh, wait, go ahead. Are you reading? Using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders, and it consumes the ice and hisses and fades out of existence. The barrier blocking the passage into the parlor has vanished. Reveal the parlor. Okay? So we'll reveal the parlor. The parlor says, resign. This is too much for me. You run out the front door fleeing in panic. While Lita Chandler is not controlled by a player, she gains parlay. Test, and if you succeed, take control of Lita Chandler. Okay, cool. So it says, put the set aside Lita Chandler into play in the parlor. Hi, Lita. Hello. And then spawn the set aside ghoul priest in the hallway. Here is the ghoul priest. So it's 5 per investigator. So does that mean that it makes it 10? Because there were 2 investigators to start? I'll have to check. Prey highest strength. Hunter retaliate. So this thing is going to come right at me because it's going in the hallway. All right, so yeah, I just verified that it's set at the per player when you start the game, no matter how many people are left. So this is going to cost 10 to defeat the ghoul priest. So now let's read Act 3. Yeah, 3A. I don't know why I was at B. What have you done? A woman with a torch stands in your parlor, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What have you done to my barrier? She screams, furious. Before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and a deer skull mask tears through the wall, advancing towards you. If the ghoul priest is defeated, advance. So we have to defeat the ghoul priest. And this is going to escalate. So We can resign, but then we would lose, right? We don't want to lose, although it's not considered to be defeated. Okay, so let's figure this out. So while you control lead a challenge, she gains, each investigator gets an extra strength. And this dude does 2 strength and 2 mind damage when he attacks. Oh boy. So I mean, if I just try to hammer it out with him, it's going to last forever. When an investigator at your location successfully attacks a monster enemy, So I think we're going to have to take the attack of opportunity. Here's what we're going to do. So this is what I'm going to do. So I have this dynamite blast, right? I'm going to evade. I'm going to move. And then I'm going to use the dynamite and do 3 damage to this ghoul priest. All right, so now what is retaliate? Hunter has retaliate. That's not good. That means it does a damage to me when I do a damage to it. If I recall correctly, retaliate. Every time an investigator fails a skill test, an enemy performs an attack. So we got to make sure we pass this evade. Oh, and I only have a 2 for evade, and I need 4. Boy, oh boy. All right, I think I have to play this, right? I've got to evade. Oh, that's going to put it even. My other option is to move. What do we do, guys? What do we do? I could try to find a card to get me a weapon. We're going for it, man. We have to evade. So we're going to evade. That puts us at 4 to evade. So we have to draw well. So we need a 0, a +1, or an elder sign. That's what we need. Please. -2. So we failed our evade, and because he has retaliate, he automatically completes an attack. So that may have been a very bad idea. Oops. 3, 4, 5. And 2 of these, so we're at 4 of those now. One more attack and we go mad. Oh no, I didn't play this well. Oh no. Shoot. So that was 1. I got to think this through. So now I could bring in the research librarian, which isn't going to help me. When this thing attacks me, I'm dead. Yuck. So I could play mind over matter, and so this would let me play my intelligence instead of my evade, which I have 3 versus 2. But I don't have any cards to play that would help it. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So this lets me add a tome asset to my hand. And it would be something... No, I got to... shoot, man. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to end up losing. I'm going to go mad. I can't fight. The evade is going to fail. I'm going to draw a card. Dodge. Ooh, fast. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location. Cancel that attack. So when can I use that? I guess that would mean that I can play it this next turn. Okay, so that was 2 actions. 4, 5, 6. So what do I want to do for number 3? Third one. Working a hunch, insightful, fast, play only during your turn. Discover 1 clue at your location. That does me no good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Although, look at this. This gives me 2 books, and I can use this to make use my intelligence instead of my agility, so I might still be able to evade next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, well that's it. That's it for our turn. Enemies with the hunter keyword move towards the nearest investigator. We're already engaged. Each engaged enemy attacks if able. Well, guess what? We are playing this dodge card. So that way this enemy may not attack me. And this is going to hurt me at the end of the game because it says, when the game ends, if there are clues on cover-up, I suffer mental trauma. All right, so that was the enemy phase. Reset actions. I gain a resource. I draw a card. Evidence. Insight. Fast. Play after you defeat an enemy. Discover 1 clue at your location. I don't need clues, man. Oh, but again, that's another book. So I could use these. That's a 4. That would get me out of dodge. All right, so let's look here. Force at the end of the enemy phase. Oh, that doesn't matter. So we're at the Mythos phase. We're going to add a Doom tracker. And we are going to draw a card. Rotting Remains. Revelation. Test 3. For each point you fail, take 1 horror. This could kill us. This could absolutely kill us. Oh, and I don't want to use the Dynamite Blast because this is going to help me kill the ghoul. Test 3, I have 3. What do you guys think? I feel like I have to use this because if I take a horror, I'm defeated. I have to use this. So I have a 4 to the test being a 3. Now I didn't want to use that card because now I don't know what I'm going to do to try to do damage to that ghoul guy, but I draw a 0. So I totally wasted this stupid card. Whatever. Now it's back to me. I'm not happy. So he's got 10 health. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to play this card. This is fast. It doesn't cost me an action. And it lets me use the intelligence instead of my agility for evading. So I'll play this. And then I'm going to evade the Ghoul Priest. And I'm looking here. Because that brings me up to 3 versus 4. So I'm going to play these 2 cards. So it's going to give me 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 4. Overkill? Maybe, but I want to evade this jerk. Give me a break. -4? Oh, so no matter how I count this, so I have 3, 6, so I have 2 to 4. So I failed that skill test. He gets to retaliate. He does 2 damage to me. So this goes from 2, this will be 4. Right? Because I had 3, 4, 5. And then 2 mental. And that is it. Roland Banks is officially defeated. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what happens. So let's see what happens. So here's the deal. We have different options. The story is going to change based on what happened. Now, first thing here, if no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated. So we're going to read this. You barely managed to escape your house with your lives. The woman from your parlor follows you out the front door, slamming it behind her. You fool, see what you have done? She pushes a chair in front of the door, lodging it beneath the doorknob. Hold on, let's pause here. Do we really think a chair in front of the doorknob is going to help? When these things are crawling through the floor, the door to your study is in the floor, there's bodies everywhere. Anyway, we must get out of here. Come with me and I will tell you what I know. We are the only ones who can stop the threat that lurks beneath from being unleashed throughout the city. You're in no state to argue. Nodding, you follow the woman as she runs from your front porch out into the rainy street towards Rivertown. In your campaign log, record that your house is still standing. In your campaign log, record that the ghoul priest is still alive. The lead investigator earns the lead enchantment card and may include it in his or her deck. The card does not count towards that investigator's deck size. So that's cool. So she is in my deck now, so I'll get her bonus as an ally for Roland. And each investigator earns experience equal to the victory value of each card in the victory display. Remember to add eligible locations to the victory display. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience as he or she gains insight into the hidden world of the mythos. So now I'm going to end up suffering mental trauma for this. So we are going to stop there for now. And what I will do is at the start of the next video for the second part 2, which is the Midnight Masks, I will go ahead and discuss what our campaign log looks like. So I'll actually make a copy of this and we'll put some notes and figure things out from there. Yeah, that did not work so well for us, but let's see what happens. So I've only ever played this intro scenario. I've never played the other 2, so I don't know what to expect. I do know that this one could have went much better for us. So I'm also going to watch the video back after I post it and discover exactly how many victory points are in our victory display. And that honestly could have made our game a little bit different because how many of these ghouls with victory points are there? Just the icy ghoul, the flesh eater, which we defeated the flesh eater, I know that. Okay, so just the flesh eater. So I know we defeated the flesh eater, so I'll pull that one in. And that would be it for the victory cards. So I'll verify when I watch back through. But so I guess that wouldn't have mattered too much for us. I was thinking that maybe we might have fought something twice. But anyway, boy, we did pretty poorly. So that is it. That is our first scenario in Arkham Horror, the card game, in the base, wherever it went, Night of the Zealot campaign. Now, if this goes well, if you guys enjoy this, let me know. I'm definitely going to finish the campaign either way, love it or hate it. But let me know if this is something that you guys really dig, because if it is, I will pick up some additional expansions that we could do more of this. This was a lot of fun. This worked out a lot better. Now that I'm getting used to the rules, the game was a lot better than I think my very first playthrough was. So yeah, anyway, that's it. I'm Lee with Geek City USA. Thanks for hanging out. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Definitely check us out for more playthroughs and stuff, and we will see you guys next time. Cheers.